just mad because you don't qualify for EBT.
That the welfare system was created in the 1930s during the Great Depression. Unemployment was about 25%, so people needed help. The elderly, people with families.
Fair enough.
So it started off as a good cause.
As always, I feel like all these things always it's always great.
Yeah, and then in the 1960s, Lyndon B. Johnson expanded it, creating, I think, Medicaid and those kind of social or healthcare programs. I think they called it the War on Poverty. Bill Clinton reformed it because people were on it for such a long time. They put a time limit on it, I think 5 years or something. But I learned that just because they put a time limit on it doesn't mean you can't reapply. So you can be on it for 5 years, like
And then reapply and get it again for 5 more years.
Yeah. So
5 years is crazy though. I started to realize they're taking a lot of my money for these taxes. And you hear stories about other people who pretty much are getting like handouts.
yeah,
And it gets you questioning yourself like,
is it fair?
is it fair?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Noir Poise podcast, where wisdom is power is more than just a motto.
It's our way of life.
I had a conversation with a friend years ago. She was upset going to Walmart and noticing that she was purchasing the same items that another person was purchasing with an EBT card. And I never forgot that conversation because obviously when you're young, like you don't really think about like the details of things. At least I personally didn't. I was just like, I mean, they need help. They get help, whatever. But I never really thought of like the logistics of everything. Is it actually fair? Does it make sense? All of the ins and outs of it. But as I got older, I started to realize they're taking a lot of my money for these taxes. And you hear stories about other people who pretty much are getting like handouts.
Yeah.
And it gets you questioning yourself like,
Is it fair?
is it fair?
Yeah, well, when I looked it up, saw that the welfare system was created in the 1930s during the Great Depression. Unemployment was about 25%, so people needed help. The elderly, people with families.
Fair enough.
So it started off as a good cause.
As always, I feel like all these things it's always great.
Yeah, and then in the 1960s, Lyndon B. Johnson expanded it, creating, I think, Medicaid and those kind of social or healthcare programs. I think they called it the War on Poverty. Bill Clinton reformed it because people were on it for such a long time. They put a time limit on it, I think 5 years or something. But I learned that just because they put a time limit on it doesn't mean you can't reapply. So you could be on it for 5 years, like
And then reapply and get it again for 5 more years.
Yeah. So
5 years is crazy though.
it is crazy.
Was that an actual? Does that actually happen, or are you just throwing like numbers out
that's
there
the
as an
actual
example?
number. 5 years is the max at one time.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
at one time, and then after that 5 years, you could reapply to it to get SNAP benefits.
That's interesting. I didn't know all
So
that.
it started off as a good cause. I get slack for saying this, but only in this country will they take care of you if you can't take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. But
You
the
think it's only
problem
this
is,
country? No. I know a few people in Canada who says they get taken care
yeah,
of too.
but America takes care of Canada, so it's like
Okay. Well then, you know
America
the
kinda, like,
politics of
takes
it.
care
I
of-
don't really know the ins and outs.
people
but,
benefit
okay.
so much. Like even in Europe, when they talk about like they don't have to, work during certain hours, or pregnant people or women who had just had a baby.
Yeah,
can
they
stay
have more
home.
time off than we
The
do here.
U.S. is kind of supplying them a lot of funds to do stuff like that.
Ain't that
from
interesting?
what I've learned.
They're supplying them the funds, and we're not getting the same benefits.
Right.
It's
Or even if
interesting.
it's indirectly, meaning like we're paying for their military so they get to save money and do other stuff with it.
I see.
But so I thought about this question. I would love your opinion on it because
Mm-hmm.
I think my take is kind of controversial.
Mhm.
But if you're poor, does that automatically mean that you shouldn't also live a life of comfort? Because I think that's where people get upset. Because some people are poor, but then they may have better nails than you. They're comfortable.
Hell no.
Which I wanted to show a video actually, something similar to what happened to your friend. But we could play it. And I'll love your reaction.
Okay.
She's like, you paid $85 for your nails, but you need EBT to pay for your groceries? I'm like, yes, bitch. I'm sorry. I didn't know that you can't have your nails done and be on EBT. This lady at Walmart got mad at me for using my EBT and having my nails done. The lady was standing behind me and I was getting ready to pay. And of course I take out my EBT card. Because what else am I going to pay with? And then she's like, ma'am, I love your nails. How much did they cost? I'm like, oh, these were like $85. And then once she sees me taking out my card, she starts bitching. She's like, you paid $85 for your nails, but you need EBT to pay for your groceries? I'm like, yes, bitch. I'm sorry. I didn't know that you can't have your nails done and be on EBT. I didn't know that was such a fucking crime. At this point...
I don't know
if you agree, write entitlement.
Oh yeah, it's
in the comments.
It's one of these reaction videos, so I guess
put a boo title.
When we do show it, we can.
Is there something wrong with having your nails done while receiving EBT? I don't know all the nuances, right? I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people out there that are on EBT that have to be on EBT, that qualify to be on EBT, that are still getting their nails done. They're getting their hair done. They're getting their lashes, their brows, or whatever else they're doing. And I'm not just being specific to women as well. I'm sure there are plenty of men out there that are taking advantage of the same things.
Y'all just mad because you don't qualify for EBT.
So you just can't get your hair done this month. You can't get your nails done this month. And them lashes that you have look like windshield wipers. So if you can't get your nails done, your hair done, and get that new outfit, that's what's called being a responsible parent.
That's actually what I meant by, should people on EBT also live a comfortable life?
And my answer was hell no. Because that's how you stay on EBT. Like, I don't know. It may be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like help from the government really should be temporary. So something to that extent, if you're comfortable enough to keep on doing your nails, keep on doing your hair, keep on doing your eyebrows and eyelashes. Now, I'm not telling you to go out looking crazy. I understand like there's a form of presentation you may have, but did you hear her? She said she got her nails done for $85. I wasn't even paying $85 for like my nails when I had, you know what I mean? Like when I was like working and stuff like that. I just don't understand that. But I feel like help from the government should be temporary. So if it's temporary, it shouldn't be a situation where you're doing that because you're making temporary changes in order to get back on track. So that way you don't have to utilize an EBT card. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
So when I hear something like that, I'm like, wait, what?
I've heard this argument before where people say, why does it matter to you? We're not taking money out of your pocket.
But you are.
You know what I mean? Indirectly. They're not like taking money out of your
but they are.
checking account.
Screw the indirectly. It is, though.
The government's going to take the money regardless. And that's, again, my question. Just because you're on welfare, does that mean if you have the opportunity to look nice, you shouldn't take that opportunity?
But you can look nice and not make those type of expenses. So you get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a way to be presentable and not have to do that.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? I don't know. Am I wrong?
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm coming at it from a different angle, and I don't agree with what she did.
Yeah.
I understand. Maybe that's the chick your friend ran into, because they both said Walmart. I think what I see as unfair is us, the middle class, we're serving the upper class while supporting the lower class.
Facts.
There's a percentage of them who are able-bodied, meaning they're young, they could walk, they could hold a regular job, but they're on these benefits. And
by choice.
Yeah, kind of like by choice. Past couple months where SNAP expired and people were making a big controversy about it. I think that's why these videos went viral. One of the requirements were if you're able-bodied, you have to work at least 80 hours a month.
And that's not
that much. That's 2 weeks out of the month. And I seen this one video where a man said, I don't want to have to go to work for more than that. I want to stay home with my family.
You don't think everybody does?
Exactly. That's I think what pushes people in the middle class to look like your friend or us to look at these people sideways.
Because like everyone wants that. You make tough decisions to make it happen, but you're not freeloading.
Right.
That's what it feels like. It feels like you're freeloading in situations like that.
And earlier I mentioned that I would have a controversial take, and this is it. I hope I don't offend anybody here, but I think if you have kids, you should be supported because no one wants to see kids suffer. But if you're in a position to work and you're taking advantage of the middle class, you know, even if that's the government's the middleman, I think that you should be put in as much of an uncomfortable situation.
So you can get up and make a change.
Right. And
I
that's
think
why
that's
life
the
makes
point of it.
things...
I feel like that's what the point of it should have been. It's temporary. So
Yeah.
you shouldn't be comfortable. It should just be, we're supporting you until you get back on your feet. No one should suffer. You know, I
Right.
think that's the purpose. You have children. There's no reason why children shouldn't be able to eat, but this shouldn't be a lifestyle.
Right.
This should be a season, and we're assisting you until you get back on your feet to be able to do for yourself, but not on some, this is my life. This is how I operate. I use my EBT card to get my nails done.
Sorry, you still look on your face.
I'm sorry. Like, I
Yeah.
don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it either. And first time I got my paycheck, I was hyped. You know,
Until you seen them
I
cut.
was doing the math the whole week, and I was like, "Oh, I'd be able to do this." I remember all those car commercials. Hey, 10% down. Pay $200 a month.
Yep.
When I got my paycheck, I felt worse than I did before I got my
like,
paycheck.
wait, I did all that work, and this is what I'm seeing.
I went over that check so many times. I remember the train ride home. I was working in Brooklyn at that time. That 2-hour train ride home was just devastated. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't do anything. I was like, how is this possible that you're taking
Welcome
so
to
much?
America. Okay.
And I think the
let
frustration...
alone New York.
Facts. I think the frustration then is, with the little money I have, I'm buying certain things, and I'm watching someone who's just as capable
Do nothing and
do
buying
nothing
the same thing.
and buying the same thing, sometimes even more. Because I've known people who work within the system, and they tell me like, yeah, all people have to do is come up and tell us that I need the rent money, and we could tell them that we gave it to you. But if they really say no, I need it, they have to hand them.
Wait, huh?
They have to. Basically, there's a lot of...
Rewind that. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I heard that wrong.
No, you heard it right.
No.
You heard it right.
I didn't. No, say it again.
Someone
Say it again.
someone I knew personally,
Who was on?
no, he worked
Welfare?
for,
Okay.
he worked for the government.
Okay.
He told me that there are many times when people come to them and they waste the rent money that they gave him for the month. They wasted it, and they would have to come back and say, yeah, I need more money for the rent. And when they say what happened to it, is that I just, it was spent. I just need more money, and they would have to hand it over. I'm not sure if this is something that happens unofficially or whatever the deal is.
Am I living in a bubble? Because I'm so confused. I didn't even know that was a thing.
But that's the thing. A lot of things like this happen, and people are not aware of it. Like, even when I was Googling it, you're not supposed to use your EBT for nails or whatever the case is.
But that my thing is, how are you doing it then? If you're not supposed to, shouldn't there be limitations on where you can utilize
people
it?
sell their EBT card.
Oh, okay. I've heard
for
of that.
cash,
Okay.
and then they
Right.
take it. I saw a stat that even said 20% of SNAP benefits go towards junk food. Listen, I just think
You
it's...
say it so I don't have
And
to.
I'm not a person that eats junk food, so I'm not looking at it like, how come you get to afford junk food and not? But again, I think the question that I keep going back to is, should those people be given a comfortable life?
And the answer is hell no.
I agree, because then it just creates that cycle that happened. And there've
You
been many
remain
times...
in that cycle forever.
Right. Someone jokingly said that people pull out their EBT card like it's a black card or something, like they're proud of it. And I think that's where the issue lies.
You know
where,
what's crazy? I feel like I would be embarrassed to pull it out.
yeah, some people are embarrassed,
Because like
I would be
your
embarrassed.
pride, like you can't
too.
take care of yourself.
Not that is
as an
not
adult.
that the situation is embarrassed, because it happens to everybody.
Of course.
But what I'm saying is that, God forbid I was ever in that situation, my number one goal would be to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
But then you have people who
and
are...
you hope that that's the case for most people. Like,
yeah, I don't think it is, because they're so comfortable. Why should you
and that's the problem.
go out and work when...
Why? That's the real question. Why should we make people that comfortable in those situations? Because now I'm trying to think of it from another perspective, right? So if I am in that position where I'm like, oh, I get to stay home with my kids, I don't have to go to work, my bills are still handled, versus if I was leaving my children, paying for daycare, and my bills were handled because I'm leaving my children. Now I'm in a situation where I'm like, oh, the government's covering it. It's like, oh, I get to stay with my children. I think of that and I'm like, yeah, naturally someone would probably want that to be their situation. But I don't know. I guess it's a pride thing. It's like you can't fend for yourself. And I know there's like limitations on how much you should be making in order to qualify for these kind of supplements. So if you're qualifying for them and you have them, that means you plan on raising your children within that salary bracket for their whole lives. And how is that even fair to the children?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's where the debate also expands, because people say it gives them the opportunities that they wouldn't have been given, or they wouldn't have if they were out on their own. Like I was reading some of the comments to this video, some other videos where people say it used to break their heart when they were working and they couldn't buy their kids certain foods or whatever the case is. But since they got on SNAP, they were able to purchase it. And just to see their kids happy, you know, it was so meaningful to them. So I could see both sides of the equation, but still, I think that the people who suffer, unfortunately, and I don't mean to sound condescending or whatever, but the people who suffer are the middle class. Because you're working 40 hours a week, if not more.
Making budget cuts, making the whole nine, not being able to do certain things just for the next person to be like, here's my EBT card to pay for my $85 nails.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all. I'm a little tight. I'm not going to even lie. I'm a little annoyed because I was aware, but like I never looked into the details of it or the stats. So I wasn't really aware that people were doing that. I thought it was a situation where like people stay in it. So they're in it for life. And now you're raising your kids in that. And the kids then, you know, end up continuing that cycle. And that's how we have the poverty, those class of people that are comfortable being in those situations. They don't really want better for themselves. And to be honest, I always looked at it like, who am I to tell you what's comfortable? Who am I to tell you how you should live your life? That's your decision. If that's what you're comfortable with, cool. But I didn't know it was to the extent of I'm getting my lashes done and my nails done utilizing this money. I thought it was more so you're buying the wrong foods and now you're getting sick and you're on Medicaid and you're going to the hospital, it can't cover a bill, and the middle class is covering that as well. That was my understanding of it. Okay. No.
Oh, damn.
I don't think it's okay, but I just thought that was the issue.
Why don't you think it's okay before you move on?
Similar to how I mentioned it in the beginning, I feel like governmental help should be temporary. It should be until you get back on your feet. So you're looking for a job, life happens, things, you know, situations happen, people get sick. I do believe that everyone should get the benefit of the doubt and get some form of assistance, especially if we're saying we live in such a great country. You've been paying taxes your whole life. At a time where it's difficult for you and your family, there should be some form of help. I completely understand that because life happens and, you know, we're all human, we're all people. There's nothing wrong with, in my opinion, in helping others who are going through those seasons. I don't agree with the freeloading mentality. The people who are like, yeah, this is what I'm doing and I plan on doing it forever because why not?
Yeah.
I can't stand that. So with the whole utilizing the funds to purchase food items that are making you sick. Listen, I'm not trying to sound like a dictator or anything, but I feel like there should be some form of control or limitations on that. You shouldn't be allowed to buy certain foods that there is proven research will lead to a certain type of path.
Yeah.
Because now you're sick, now you're on Medicaid and you can't support yourself. So you can't pay for your bills. You have to get medication. You have to go see a physician. So the middle class is covering for your expenses. Again, things happen, right? I'm not saying let these people suffer, but that person, in my opinion, shouldn't be allowed to continue buying the same foods that led them to the sickness. Yeah. I think there should be limitations on, okay, you shouldn't be able to have foods that have these, you know, toxic dyes and processed sugars in them. You can buy food. Go to the supermarket, buy produce, buy real food that you can eat, but not on some, we're buying Rice Krispies. And, you know, like, I just don't understand that concept because at that point, it's just a cycle. You're going through the cycle of, I'm eating this toxic, I can't afford food. I'm choosing to buy toxic food. I'm eating this food. It's making me sick. I can't afford medication and help to heal myself. I'm using the government assistance to then pay for my medical expenses, and I'm not doing anything to change that. I'm just going to keep getting sicker and sicker. So the expenses are going to keep getting more and more.
Well, why is that not on them? You see what I'm saying? Like on them. Why is it just, I'm going to answer this too, but as a middle class, we get frustrated with people making terrible decisions for their own lives. When realistically, I couldn't understand this argument where people say, if you want to stay in that cycle,
That's your business.
That's your business.
Mm-hmm.
So
why not? Why am I not okay with that?
Yeah.
Because we're supplementing it. That's my problem. That's all it boils down to. If you want to eat what you want to eat, you're an adult. That's your problem. I'm not here to tell people what they should or shouldn't eat. My problem is doing it while you're intentionally freeloading endlessly. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're doing it and you're on these assistant programs temporarily, and you're going back to work to pay for your lifestyle, hey, do you? That's not my business. I'm not God. That's your business. But I don't agree with the concept of doing it with the mindset that this is endless, because we're just going to we're supporting that lifestyle for that person. And like you said, the middle class is taking a hit. We're going to work to get all these taxes taken away from us. We can't supply the lifestyle that we desire for our families and our children when we're working our asses off. And the next person is like freeloading, but making decisions that's going to make them keep on freeloading.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair. No.
I heard someone who was on benefits and doing stuff like that say, why don't you just join us? Like, what's the point? Again, I think it's a lazy mindset. But what's the point of you working hard in the middle class if you're looking at us like it's not fair? Just join us. Your looks during this episode is hilarious.
Honestly, well, first of all, I feel like comfort is different for everyone, right? So what they're viewing as comfort, some people are comfortable in their situation. I don't view that as comfortable. I view that as poverty. I don't mean to sound messed up, but to me, if I was in that situation, I would not be comfortable with it. I'm not comfortable with knowing that I can't have a savings account or an emergency fund or vacation, or you know what I mean? Or I'm not comfortable with that. So I understand that everyone has a different view on what comfort looks like. If that's comfortable for them, that's their business. My problem has nothing to do with their comfort level. It's more so I don't want to fund that for you. If you choose to, if you're funding it, that's your problem. But I don't like the idea of other people who are actually trying to make it outside of that system to then have to use a portion of their income to fund your lifestyle when you have no intention of doing better for yourself. That's where I'm at with it.
If I was leader of this country or whatever, I honestly would.
Limits.
Not just limits, but if you're on government program, I think there should be certain types of food that you should be able to buy and certain types that you're unable to buy. I've heard people make the argument where
I agree.
that impedes on people's freedom, telling them what to eat and what not to eat.
You lost your freedom when you decided to rely on the government. Honestly, that's how I see it.
I can see that.
You can have your freedom if you're doing for yourself. But now it's kind of like the parent-child dynamic, right? You know how like we hear it all the time. Our parents say, as long as you're under my roof, you following my rules. It's the same concept. At that point, you are under my roof. I am supplying you with these items. Therefore, you're going to abide by the rules because I'm giving this to you. Now, if you choose to go get it yourself, you free to make your own decisions. Ain't no rules no more. That's your business. That's how I view it. So as long as you are being assisted on the backs of other Americans who are working hard to actually do more for themselves, then your freedom should definitely be limited. I know that may not be a popular opinion, but absolutely. There's no reason why you should be comfortable to the point where you are planning to remain there forever. Seasons happen. I understand that life happens. I mean, life happening to us. You know what I mean? Like life happens, but I don't believe in you can eat what you want while this is happening. No, these are your options. If it was up to me, these are your options. Choose from this. We will make sure you eat. You will not go hungry. You need to see a physician. We will make sure you see a physician. You know what I mean? You will not freeze. You will have somewhere to lay your head. But does that mean you're going to like eat 6 times a day for the heck of it? No. There's because if I keep going, y'all gonna look at me sideways. But you would not be able to be overweight on this.
I
that's
agree.
how I see it. Like. And it should be in a way where like what they say was supposed to be assistance, like temporary assistance, right? So I'm not doing everything for you. I'm assisting you.
Yeah.
And assisting means you are doing, but I'm helping you as you're doing for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not taking care of you 100%.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like it should be. You need help with this. I'm going to help you for this moment. But this is not, I'm literally taking care of you like you're a disabled elderly.
To add on to that, I don't think people should be comfortable in that kind of environment. I'm not talking about kids, because again, I think kids are separate.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault, so I think kids should be supported. But adults, specifically male adults, there was a guy who also went viral talking to a news organization, and he said he lost his benefits. I think he was in his 30s, he's able-bodied, could walk, could talk, could read, but he just didn't want to work. And this new administration started putting cuts to things, that he lost his benefits, and he said he was devastated. I look at people like that and say, you should actually be, I'm gonna sound like a teacher, but you should be ashamed of yourself. If you're a man and you're comfortable receiving just benefits endlessly and you're not putting the effort, I think it's society's job, I'm gonna say this as lovingly as possible, but to shame you. You shouldn't feel comfortable in that environment. Again, I think it's different if you're a mother with kids. That's more sensitive. I think kids should never suffer, no matter what's going on in the economy or with your parents. But if you know for sure you can work, and you're just taking advantage of these things, getting your nails done when you know, you're buying groceries for your kids.
$85. She didn't even say a regular manicure for like $25, y'all, $30. $85?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That means you doing the whole nine. You putting on some tips. You getting designs.
But if you're like, again, not judging this individual because I don't know her, but it looks like there was a little hand in the back, like a child or whatever. But it shouldn't be at that point. You should be embarrassed. If someone calls you out on that, you shouldn't feel some type of way about being called out on that. The fact that she had the audacity to get angry shows that she feels like this is righteous. Like, this is something
she said, you jealous of me on my
so the system's broken, and I think as a middle class, this is why we should do more research just to stay aware and be knowledgeable about all these things that are going on, because the people you're electing or we're electing are supporting this.
That part.
I heard someone say this before, where if you give poor people or the lower class things that they want, they're always going to vote for you. They're going to vote for the people who keep putting money in their pockets, who keep funding their lifestyles where they don't have to work, but they can get their $85 nails done and eat whatever they want and get thousands of dollars for groceries.
Only to end up sick and then go to the hospital every time you don't feel well, and then someone else got to pay for the bill.
Yeah, but like, in their mind, they're living a good life. So I think it's our responsibility to just be informed. I had a professor in Brooklyn College that said something to me that I never forgot. He told us, the class, if you think you're going to work a regular 9 to 5 and be rich, that's not going to happen. Like, the system is set up against that. Doesn't matter if you're a plumber, if you're a doctor, whatever it is that you're doing, your regular job is not going to get you there.
Unless you're working for yourself, because a plumber these days.
Right, unless you're working for yourself. And that was one of his answers, where entrepreneurship or investing. So doing the research to find out what avenue could you go to create that long-term wealth, because it's going to suck if we spend 60 years of our lives, if we started working young, 60 years of our lives or about that, to get to a point and we look to our left and we're back there with the lower class. So I think instead of blaming other people or even getting upset, we should do our due diligence and see how could we get out of this rat race.
I love that. I think that's very true. It goes back to putting the accountability on ourselves. While I don't know if y'all seen our victim mentality episode, I'm trying to get out of it, but there's a part of me that want to blame those people so bad, because how? But it goes back to putting the accountability on ourselves, because at the end of the day, we are putting some of these governmental officials into power to allow this to continue. So if we don't agree with certain things, I think, like you said, the right thing is to vote for the right people that we actually want. That's if these votes are actually working. Don't get me started on that.
Not just that too, but quickly, it's not about voting red versus blue versus independent. Sometimes they're all the same. They're all the same. They laugh. They attend the same meetings. Exactly. So again, the responsibility is on yourself.
On ourselves.
Do the due diligence, and I believe that you'll find a way.
I love that. And we're out. Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you gained some knowledge today that'll promote poise in your life. We have new episodes uploaded every Thursday right here, same place, same time. Until next time, you can follow us on Instagram at Noirpoise Podcast to stay connected. That's NOIRPOISED Podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback.
And remember, your wisdom is power.